Hey, everybody, welcome to the Struggling Hunters. We're on episode 69. It's almost 70, man. We're at a milestone, Joe.
We are. It's quite the milestone.
Yes, yes, sir. I can't believe that it's been so long.
That is true. I will say it's kind of interesting because I know we kind of start each podcast off by being like kind of saying what number it is and kind of being amazed at it. But I don't know. I know it's just like a bigger number every week, but every week it's kind of, I don't know. It's just it's cool to be able to see that number get bigger.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully, maybe after 100 or somewhere in there, we'll stop calling out the episode. But as of right now, I mean, it's kind of cool, 69 and still going, still plugging away and doing the thing and having fun. And with that said, if you're listening to this, give us a subscribe, like our video,
Yeah.
engage with us, leave a comment. Go ahead, Joe.
No, I was gonna say just off that, just before we got too far down that rabbit hole is uh yeah, just leave us a comment. I just lost like my whole I went to open my mouth, my whole thought just went out the door. But just along those lines of liking and subscribing, you know, yeah, leave it just because I'm gonna say we've had a couple good engagements this last little bit, which has been fun for us. We've want to give you guys a huge shout out, or a huge thank you because we've enjoyed the comments and your interaction. We thank you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it definitely gets us excited every time, we're like, oh, hey, we got some comments. It's awesome, so appreciate the comments, appreciate the outreach and well, I think we're really starting to go somewhere with this podcast and doing the best we can and having fun with it. And yeah, one other thing before we really get going in tonight's podcast that I think will be a pretty good podcast tonight, but one thing we forgot to say was giving us a share. If you have a buddy out there that you think would like the podcast, share it to them, or tell them that we're just a couple crazy fools trying to figure out this hunting game and get better at it every day.
That's kind of along those lines. As I'm sitting here thinking about upcoming hunts this year, or my upcoming hunt, not hunts, but hunting with other people. I think I'll get to. I guess I still have my turkey hunt coming up too. So I got 3 more tags besides my elk tag that I'll hopefully be able to get. But anyways, as I sat here thinking about struggling hunters and upcoming hunts and along those lines of crazy guys talking about hunting, I really hope that how do I put this? That we do seem like hunters, like, trying to become better hunters. It's an interesting concept for, like we talk about it and I don't want to, but it's just, like, I'm like, I really want to be that better hunter.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. I mean, I'm always thinking about it, how can we be better hunters and how can we take this to the next level? And as of right now, I mean, the truth to the struggle is we both have full-time jobs, and that really, Joe, you kind of opened us up to the first, segment. But we both have full-time jobs, and this is something that's been kind of rattling in my mind a little bit is the weekend warrior thing. I mean, we do a podcast and we talk about hunting all the time, and obviously we're passionate about it and we just want to become better hunters. But at the end of the day, we're kind of weekend warriors, and as much as I hate saying it, because I'd love to say that we're just full-time, all, gung-ho, every chance we get out there in the woods hunting, between family life, work life, kid life, all, everything imaginable, and then other hobbies too. I mean, I'm one of those guys that really, I like a lot of different stuff. Hunting is something I've been passionate about since a young man. And I mean, I have been a little bit in and out of hunting over the years, especially whenever I moved to Colorado. Uh, I was kind of out of it for a few years, but I definitely missed it. And I, felt like I was always missing something in the fall. When fall would come around, I'm like, man, I need to get out there and hunt. And finally started getting back into it, and the rest is history. But the weekend warrior thing, I mean, it's just we're just doing the best we can as long as we can, or as much as we can. And I think for me, the ultimate goal is to try to get to a point with this podcast or with life in general, where things slow down a little bit or something. We are out there all the time, and we are a little more than weekend warriors. And one thing that got me thinking about it the most is your hunt is literally, well, a little less than 2 weeks away
Right.
at this point. And my hunt is a little less than 3 weeks away, give or take, 4 weeks away. And I mean, I haven't really had the opportunity to get out there and scout like I should. And, I just feel I'm like, man, I'm just such a weekend warrior, I mean, that's what it comes down to. And I'm like, it's frustrating because I want to be more. And that's what the point of this is I want to be more. I want to get to that next level and really consider myself maybe more of a professional hunter. But, I mean, there's just things that happen, and I don't know. I'm just hoping for that day that I can get out there and do a little more hunting. I don't know. Do you have any more thing to add to that, Joe?
Well, I just was, trying to, playing, given that everyone, stereo, probably our audiences are all probably weekend warriors, more or less, guys like us trying to better themselves. And I think, like kind of along your lines, that's the whole point, or a big point of what struggling hunters is. And trying to, hone those skills, or understanding what those skills are to be a great weekend warrior. So it's not, there's one thing like going out on the weekend and camping, and then there's another thing going out on the weekend and trying to hunt. And then there's another thing, going out on the weekend and actually, I don't know how to actually, I guess, be a hunter. Is that, like to actually understand what it is you're hunting and where they're going to be or where they might be, and if they're not there, being brave enough to call that spot and go to another spot. I don't, it seems like that's kind of the picking up those skills to be coming. I don't know what the proper word is, but more than a weekend hunter warrior, like
A moderate hunter, at least.
right. Like, right. Because like that's what our ultimate goal is more or less be able to take the 3 days off, or like a weekend plus a work day or 2 work days to be able to get something, more or less.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something I guess we're all chasing or trying to do. And I mean, at the end of the day, that was kind of the point of starting the Struggling Hunters was, well, I mean, there's so many different things, but one thing is to maybe one day possibly make it where, at least we're getting a little bit of, we're in a position where we can, take some more time off to be able to hunt more and turn it around with content and, kind of just feed the beast, if you will. And hopefully one day we get there. But also on the other end of it, I mean, our demographic is, the guys that are a lot like us that are kind of weekend warriors with us, or, the struggle of trying to get out there and do the best they can with the little bit of time that they got. And that's where we're at. And I mean, it's fine, but I guess, whenever you compare yourself to other people out there, that's in this industry doing podcasts or doing hunting shows and stuff, you're like, man, I need to do more. I need to do more. And you kind of put that pressure on yourself, and I guess I'm kind of talking more directly, like with me and Joe doing this podcast, being vulnerable and putting ourselves out there and sharing our shortcomings isn't always easy to do, really. I mean, I'd much rather sit here and boast about how great I am than how difficult it is to do stuff. But
Right.
but with that said, man, I don't know. I just, it's just something that I was just thinking about the last couple of days, and I thought, hey, it'd be kind of fun to share that with the listeners, and I'm sure most of you guys can understand and relate to the struggle of weekend warrior. And you guys probably wish and hope for the day that you get more time off or a bigger budget to do more hunts. That's something that me and Joe always talk about, is how great it is to hunt our state, but how much better it would be to be able to take the time off and have the budget to put in for some of these out of state hunts and shoot for our success in those areas too. Because I mean, both of them are kind of tricky. I mean, sometimes we might have the budget, but we don't have the time off, and sometimes we might have the time off, but we don't have the budget. So it's
Right.
kind of a double-edged sword. But I mean, that's part of the struggle. That's part of trying to figure out your budget. And I feel like right now, like we're trying to get so much stuff and trying to just get to that next level and do everything we can just to get more success in our own state. It's kind of hard to think about other states, but at the same time, it's still in the back of our mind wanting to get there. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know where that's at. I don't know what else to really say or much more to say about it. I mean, I don't know if you have anything more, Joe, but
No.
uh, but yeah, just kind of a thought, maybe in a couple other episodes or something, I can figure out a way to identify that more or something, I guess. But I don't know. I just kind of wanted to put that out there in the universe. And I guess I just have the goal that one day I'm a little more of a hunter, or a little more capable of getting out to the woods and doing the thing. Speaking of, it kind of popped in my head. So that's the other thing too, is this year we've been doing a little bit of upgrading around the house and stuff. So, some of the weekends that I've had a crazy busy summer around this, but I've been upgrading stuff around the house and all of that just takes time. I mean, that's what it comes down to, is it takes time, and sometimes it takes away from what you really enjoy doing. And so I don't know, hopefully maybe next year things will be a little slower and we'll get out there and do a little more scouting and hunting and feel like we belong.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. Yeah, moving on to the
Yeah.
next
Yeah, we
segment.
can go. Yep. Moving on.
Moving on. Uh, something that was kind of brought up in a comment, like we said, like Joe said a little bit ago. We've had some engagement with comments, which is awesome, guys. Keep it up, because it kind of it helps us out. It helps us out figuring out what we want to talk about, and kind of gives us a little bit of material to talk about. Anyway, buying a camper. Now, I know for me, I'll just kind of kick it off. I know for me, I've like had this weird relationship with the idea of a camper. Mostly because there's something about roughing it and doing the thing the hard way a little bit, as crazy as that sounds, makes me feel more like a hunter, I guess.
Right.
and a little bit of we don't do a lot of spike camping, but I mean we do base camping, but it's kind of like working that spike camp muscle, even though we don't really do spike camp. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but that's my idea with the tent is we usually set up a tent at a base camp, then we go from there. But the idea is when we do start doing more spike camps, we go out and like we're already kind of prepared for it a little bit. With that said, though, having a camper helps you kind of get the family out there, right? The wife, the kids. Maybe
Right.
during hunt season, they're not so much into it, but I mean, it's harder to get them out there. Like my wife, she works and my kids go to school, and so during hunt season it's a little bit harder. But in the summer, it's really, it'd be really great to have the family out there and everybody enjoying the outdoors a little more. And I know, so with that, with what I'm saying, what I'm trying to say is I know that a camper's in my future. I'm going to get one in my future. And it might come sooner than later. Another reason that I didn't get a camper is my current house that I live at. I can't have a camper here because of those great HOA rules. And it makes sense, but it still kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But I'd have to pay for it to be stored, and then buying the camper itself. I mean, the whole thing is kind of a hassle, and I'd rather just use the tent because of it. But I know as my kids are getting older and everything, I mean, everybody's kind of itching to get out there in the woods more and spend more time out there in the woods. And I would love it because I could go take off in the morning and go scouting a little bit, and kind of utilize it for my hunting.
Right.
And be with the family at the same time. So it's kind of I mean, it really works out for everybody. But so yeah, I mean, I think camping is or having a camper rather is definitely something that's coming our way. And I don't know why I put the idea in my head that I didn't want a camper for as long as I could. I guess maybe I was a little bit of it was also feeling like an old man a little bit, right? Like if I was
Right.
still tinting it up, I was still a young guy doing the thing. So, but got to accept my fate and realize I'm getting older. So so an investment on a camper might be coming around the corner.
Yeah. Well, like you said, it kind of opens up opportunities and like makes it a little more comfort, a little bit easier, and so to some degree, for the most part. Mm. But then it brings on a whole nother upkeep too. Like that's the other thing you got to weigh. You know, if you're good with the upkeep, then no problem. But yeah, I'd say at some point I will too probably be getting a trailer. I don't really have a time frame, but kind of like Eric, I don't have a place to park it, not because of HOA, but because my lot that I live on is a smaller lot and I don't have room. And I don't feel that it's worth it to park it and then pay to have it parked somewhere just to have it parked not being used.
Yeah, it's kind of a hard one to swallow, especially whenever you're paying the payment for the camper, and then
Right.
on top of that, you're paying to park it. So, but that's also a good point because my place really doesn't have room for a camper either. But I wanted to just blame it on the HOA because they're easier to blame than my small lot.
Right. A little funner to blame too, in a way.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of all I have for the camper, but it's definitely something that I want to utilize. And I see some conveniences there too. I mean, being able to kind of leave most of your stuff inside the camper and for the most part, besides perishable items and stuff, like you can just leave everything
Right.
as is, and next time you want to go out, it's all there. I mean, that's
Right.
kind of nice. Um, but yeah, I don't know, man. There's just something for me, and it's kind of silly or stupid or whatever, but I've been fighting it and wanting to just sleep in a tent and do the whole tent thing just because I like having that edge, man. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it better than that, but I like having that edge. So
Gotcha.
yeah, that's kind of as far as the camper, I guess. Kind of just going down the list, really. But the next thing to kind of get into is recapping the hunting vehicle, like that. That's where we got most of our input is the hunting vehicles, and man, Joe, I've been just going down the rabbit hole. We talked about it last week, but
Yeah.
we're working on me and the wife. We talked about having or kind of dressing up our Tacoma and making it sweet, and she pretty much told me I could do whatever I want to it. And so I've been just going down the rabbit hole on what I want to do with it, and lifting it. And I kind of made a decision, though. I was talking though I guess one thing that I wanted to clarify last week, I was kind of talking about the overland tents, and I've kind of made up my mind what I want to do. And it's because every once in a while, it's just nice to take the truck and go to, the next ridge, or, something that's 3, 4, or 5 miles away. And you don't want to walk there. You want to just drive there and then walk, get out. Instead of having an overland tent as a hunter, I think, whenever you look at it as a hunter, being a hunter, the overland tent doesn't quite work for you. It can, but it's kind of nice to set up your camp and then just be able to use your vehicle as you need. And so I've decided what I'm going to definitely do is one day it'll probably turn into a camper, but I'll definitely get a trailer, and maybe one of those off-road trailers or something. Cause they have those trailers. You kind of were talking about it. They have those trailers that have an overland tent on top of the trailer.
Yeah.
And so I'll either do that or a cargo trailer, one of the two. And then the cargo trailer will just hold all my stuff, and I'll just pull the tent out. Cause I got this nice canvas tent that I like to, I still want to use for a while.
Yeah.
So anyway, long story short, that's kind of to recap a little bit on that. That's kind of what I've decided to do. So my Tacoma is going to get a lift. What else? A lift. I want to get some bumpers for it, kind of deck it out to be almost an overland truck without being a complete overland truck.
No, I
Tacoma.
get that. I get that because like you get those setups and you start spending that much time out in the woods, and you get your truck set up that way, and it just makes life a lot easier. Like, yeah, it's, you know, yeah, you get it set up and you're just good to go. You
Yeah.
don't have to worry about, loading stuff up, or, maybe loading it up, but once it's loaded up, you have everything situated to where you want it. You know where it's at, you know, most part of it. If you have it set up, you're not digging through all your other gear. You don't have to unload your whole vehicle to get to the bag in the bottom on the back of all the gear. So, yeah, I get it. It's not quite an overland rig, but there's some concepts there that are quite helpful. And that's kind of years ago, I kind of got it starting to itch for doing overlanding. And that's kind of why I got the Explorer, is kind of heading down that route. I haven't done a lot to it. Nothing really other than buy tires. But nothing, like not even like I bought oversized tires or nothing. But anyways, but that was kind of like the pipe dream for that, is to kind of get that and set it up for kind of an easy overlanding camping rig, hunting rig, to make it so that way it's just, load up and go. You don't have to really do much thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what it's about. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to deck it out and get it pretty much where it's kind of the same situation as load up and go. The only difference is I'm going to do it a little bit different. Instead of putting that tent up on top of my rack, I'd rather pull a trailer and set that up. So, I mean, that's really the only difference, but there's options there too. I kind of really like the, especially if I ever get a side by side, which is kind of another thing that I'd like to get in the future, but a side by side or even a four wheeler, getting maybe one of those jumping jack trailers
Right.
too.
Yeah.
But
That might be worth looking into too, seeing if that's something. Cause it's like my mind just starts going down all these avenues of like, okay, I don't see myself going down any too gnarly of roads. And when I say that is just because of like pulling a trailer, if you know you don't want to pull a trailer that's not capable of going over anything too deep at ruts or something to where you're going to blow your axles out, and then or tear your trailer up. So you get to that point and hopefully you can just like, oh, I'm going to pull off the road here and this is where I'm camping. And then like you said, hop in your rig and hunt from your rig or your 4 ATV or whatever.
yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of the goal. Like, I mean, I don't have no plans of 4 buying with my trailer on the back, but getting to wherever I want to camp. And then from there I can on hook and hit a little more gnarly roads if I want, or,
Right.
whatever. I mean, but I feel like for me, that was the biggest thing is I just kept like, cause those overland tents are nice. I mean, I like them. I like them a lot, but I was like, man, it kind of sucked that every time I wanted to be like, oh, let's go check out this ridge over here and see if there's elk over there. Have to, I mean, they make them where they collapse pretty fast, and I understand that, but you have to pull out your bedding and do the
You
whole
don't have to
thing.
pull
And
out your bedding. Sorry.
you don't have to
You can,
do. Oh, well,
you leave your bedding in there. I mean, you might have to pull out your pillow, but you can leave your pad and your blankets, and you
most of
just
them come
fold.
with like a pad and everything, but I thought you had to pull everything out. Okay, well, maybe I don't know what I'm
No.
talking about, but I don't know. Anyway, thanks for the correction. You totally messed up my flow, but that's all right.
Sorry to do that to you, but that
Yeah,
was one of the things that I liked about them was the fact that you could leave all
collapse.
your sleeping bag and everything up in there, fold it up, head home, and leave it in there till the next time you go out, and it's all up there.
And that's all of them that'll do that.
I believe so. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I need to rethink some stuff.
Well, don't let me change your mind on that exact thing, but like yeah, that's why I was kind of sold on them I still am, but as a fact, and then like it takes the 10 seconds to fold it up, and then for sure you want to throw the protection over it, but then you're good to go.
Yeah. Well, if my budget ever gets too big, what I'd probably honestly do is probably have an overlanding tent. So whenever I'm not worried about hunting or whatever, if I just want to go for a trip up in the woods and camp, I could just go that route. But whenever I think about hunting and stuff, I'm always just thinking, man, I don't want to like pack everything up and unpack everything. I'd rather just kind of
Yeah.
hopefully use the honor system out there in the woods. I mean, I've always kind of relied on it in the past, but leave my tent and leave all my stuff there and go hit the road in the pickup and instead of having to pack everything up just to go to the next spot. But that's kind of the idea of overlanding, right? Is you camp one night at some spot, you pack everything up, and then you drive. You're not wanting to go back to your base camp. You're going to the next destination, wherever that is. So,
Right.
I mean, I get the idea of overlanding, but I know the type of person I am and the way I utilize going out. I mean, I'm more of a base camp person that likes to go there, but then I come back to camp in the afternoon, or,
Right.
I just travel the mountain that I'm at. So I don't know, a lot of options. I mean, it's good. I mean, like I said, I mean, if I ever got the budget, I'd probably have, if I ever had the budget, I'd probably do all of it, like
Right.
if I'm like, hey, I'm going to be in my Razor a lot this week, I'll take the jumping jack, or I'm not using the Razor at all. I'll just take the cargo van or whatever I got there. And,
Right.
but I mean, being on a budget, balling on a budget, you just got to use what you have. So
Right.
with that said, I've decided that I'm probably not going to do any racks on the side, and I'm going to just get a trailer. I still want that decked toolbox, lift, some bumpers, and a winch. And that's probably what I'm going to roll with. And a lot of lights, unnecessary lights.
No, I think that's something that like I kind of want to add, to a rig is auxiliary lights that you can click on if you're on the side of the vehicle, flip on or something, just because it just makes camping that much nicer. You don't have to have a flashlight. I agree with you on that one.
Dude, they have a Switch Pro that you can plug into your truck. And I want it because I have a future look of how many lights I want to put on my truck. But the Switch itself is like almost $600. And I'm like for a Switch, but instead of having a gazillion wires wired everywhere and stuff, like the idea of that Switch and having a gazillion switches in your truck or whatever, like that Switch kind of handles it all. So the value's there, but it's probably way overpriced. But I want it. Whenever I get to that point, but that's a big investment, man. That's almost more than what my lift will cost whenever I get that.
Yeah.
Sort of. The lift is kind of a pain too, because you gotta buy all three things: rims, tires, and lift all at the same time. I mean, you could do one or the other a different way, but it's,
if you want it to look good, not look like for a while till you get the rest of it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they actually have a saying. They have a saying and I don't know, it cracks me up, but they say like if you get the lift and you have your stock tires or whatever, it looks like your truck skipped leg day, is what it looks like. So I thought that was pretty funny. But I got to shout out like one channel that I've been watching a lot is this Tacoma Beast is the channel name. I just got to shout them guys out because they're pretty informative, and I don't know. I've watched a lot of their episodes, so pretty good stuff. They got a lot of good stuff on there that definitely gets my wheels turning and makes me think of what I want to do.
Gotcha.
Do you have any anything else you want to add on that?
No, I'm good. Good on that.
Well, if we haven't bored you enough, let's get to the good stuff. Your hunt's coming up.
Yes, I'm 2 weeks out, one weekend in between me and the opener. That's crazy. And like it's I know I keep telling you, like, what the August, September hunts come quick. And like, like get looking at it like, oh, it's months away. Then all of a sudden it's here and it's not October. Like I still haven't gotten over that yet. But yeah,
Man.
it's 2 weeks away. Been doing it's kind of funny. Like me and Eric are two different people when it comes to meal preps, meal planning. Eric loves his food, which isn't a bad thing. And I kind of take like minimalist approach. So like I'm sitting there thinking, like trying to plan my meals, like, oh, I'm probably getting back. What time does it get dark now? Like at 9:30,
I think
9:30,
it's around 8:30 or 8:30.
8:30, right?
Yeah, like 8. Let's just split the difference. 8:15.
So it gets dark at 8:15, and like a lot of times I'm like, man, I'm probably still going to be coming out of the hills, out of the mountains at 8:15 at dark, hunting right up till dark. And if I'm hunting where I think I'm going to be hunting, I'm going to be miles from base camp. And so I was like, man, I'm not getting back to camp till like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So, as much as I'd like a big meal, but being that I don't have a cook back at camp, I'm gonna, trying to plan something that's quick and easy to heat up real quick and go to bed so I can get up again and do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, last year was a little bit there's kind of a last year was what do I say? So we do have different styles though. You're an MRE guy basically, or whatever, mountain house, whatever they are.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I'm really not, like, I don't have nothing against them necessarily, but I'd rather not have them. But what I really like to do is just kind of prep my meals, like make like burritos or something and heat those up, or make those beans, heat that up. But last year was a little bit different, and I'm probably not going to do it this year. But I had what do I have? A Blackstone griddle, and it's portable. So I was like all excited about, man, I'm really gonna cook it up out there. And it was fun. Like, we did eat good. And
Yeah.
after everybody left, man, I was like, I got too much food, man. I didn't eat that much after you guys left. I was kind of tired. Like, we were eating so healthy. I was kind of tired of eating. So I think I might have cooked myself up a couple things here and there, but I kind of slowed down on cooking stuff up. Um, but yeah, I am a little bit different that way. Like, I want to say the year before, we had, or I brought burritos or something, but I like to do that. I like to prep that way where, have these meals kind of already ready. All you got to do is heat it. Same concept. You got to heat them up, but it's real food
Right.
instead of that preservative crap.
Yeah, true. I like it too, though, just because it's simple. I don't have to think too much about it or too much prep beforehand. But
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna do some meal prep on some. I was thinking maybe some burritos or something too, just to have something extra. But I think that's kind of like the catch-22 when you're sitting here meal prepping, right? But what I mean, like, is like, yeah, like I don't mind the mountain houses. I'll eat them. I think they're decent for what they are. But at the same time, it's like to have that, like, it's nice to have that something that you actually enjoy. You
Yeah.
know, like, like, okay, this is whether it's some type of a snack, cookie, or whatever, like, or if you enjoy cooking those big dinners when you get back to camp, that's you do you. I won't, that's cool. But, and you is not you, Eric, but you as in the listener. Whatever it is you like to do, do it and own it. But so like, yeah, I'll be getting ready for my hunt, meal prepping, doing some e-scouting. Just telling Eric I got 2 different spots I probably want to hunt this year, and I'm gonna probably do a base camp between the two. So that way, if I can. So that's where where I kind of struggle with having a base camp between, because I kind of like the idea of like, well, I'm just gonna leave my truck and go out and go hunting without really having to drive very far. But having a base camp between the two, because that's an hour or so that I gotta have to get up in the morning to get out. Whereas if I just camp close to where I'm hunting, I don't have that much travel time. So if I do get up that much earlier, I can either prepare either a better breakfast, or I can go hiking further into the woods before the sun comes up without having to get up extra early to include drive time.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of a hybrid, I guess, in that way. I do both a little bit. Find my base camp where I kind of want to hunt most of my spots, but sometimes whenever they're not working out for you, it's like,
Right.
let's go see what else we can find.
Right. Exactly. And that's what, I mean, I guess that's kind of like where I want a base camp between the two, is just be so that way I can go down the one and be like, oh, I really don't like what I'm seeing, or there's nothing really here. Go back up. Now, like I don't have to pack up everything to get in between, so that way it's not like I have to pack up where I was, then travel the extra miles to go back to, especially where it's only going to be like a 3-day weekend.
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if I had a whole week and then, yeah, I'll camp close to where I think I want to hunt. But trying to do that whole time management thing and make the most of everything.
It's almost impossible sometimes.
Right. You can, our famous slogan, being an armchair quarterback, you can always talk about it afterwards, but
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the easy part, talking about
right,
it afterwards.
exactly. I shouldn't have done that. Should have known better.
But, kind of going back to food though, one thing I wanted to say is one thing I like about doing the meal preps and trying to prep it out is one day whenever I figure it all out, I'd like to do like a series of meal prepping ideas to take out with you. Speaking of something that I was thinking of, I might be taking it from somebody. I guess what I'm saying is I might have seen it from somebody else, but I don't know if I am. I was thinking about mashed potatoes. They're really light, and they
Yeah.
fill you up. So obviously you want more than just mashed potato. I mean, you want other foods, but like
Well,
something to just kind of fill you up,
right. That was actually one of the meal prep or meal things that I was going to put in for one of my dinners, is I was going to get hot dogs, good hot dogs, and then instant mashed potatoes, because that's something I can cook both of those in my little jet boil.
Yeah.
That's just heat up water, and then like you said, those potatoes, you can get some flavored potatoes where they actually taste pretty good too. I think you're talking about the instant potatoes, right?
Yeah. 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 I'm not
Yeah.
going to bring a sack of potatoes with me.
Eric, why is your pack so heavy? Dude, I got these russets. We're going to eat good tonight.
Yeah.
We got to stop by a stream so I can pill them.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I'd probably have the heaviest pack in the mountains there if I had a sack of potatoes in my bag. But I don't know. It's just something I've been definitely thinking about. I'm like, man, if situation kind of got bad, or, just having it in your pack and,
Yeah.
just being able to heat it up with like the jet broil or jet boil. I don't know why I put an R in there, but
Well, that, and the other thing I've kind of liked too is at times is the oatmeal, instant oatmeal.
oh, that too. Yeah, that's a really good. Yeah, that's a really good idea.
You get different flavors of that, find a flavor you like, and it kind of gives you something that's not quite so bland, but taste some taste to it if you don't mind it. Everyone, that's the other interesting thing, is everyone has their own little, you know, quirk of what they like to eat or what they throw in. But That's it. Maybe we should try to do that one day. 'Cause I really would like to see what other people kind of do as their like little either guilty pleasure food that they bring on, throw in their pack, or what exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a hustle to like cook all your own food right before you hunt, but or I guess speaking of, well, not to bounce around too much, but yeah, I mean, I like to I like to cook. I like to prep some food just to have like some kind of real food. Like I said last year with the old Blackstone griddle, I mean, that was more kind of just an occasion because it was my first year. And I mean, I don't know. There might be some years that I take it out and some years that I don't, but I don't think I'm going to take it out too much this year. I'll just do meal prep or something, maybe I'll even do some MREs or something, but I just like to kind of have some kind of real food out there and break the monotony. But I was going to
Right.
say another thing that I want to do is come up with like a homemade protein bar that that will last or hold up
Right.
to whatever situation you have going on. I have a few ideas, but I'd like to do a video about that. Like I said, or I guess I kind of have this plan. I haven't really put a lot of thought into it, but I've had the idea rolling around to do some kind of meal prep for hunting, basically to show other hunters what they can make. And like you said, there's probably people out there that have some pretty cool ideas. And since we're speaking about it, if you have an idea about meal prep, maybe throw it out, like what you like to take out and for
Yeah.
food whenever you go hunting.
Or camping. Like it doesn't. I'll just to kind of get whoever's listening, if there's something that you meal prep, doesn't necessarily have to be hunting, but like if you meal prep it and you like it, like to know about it.
Yeah. Yeah. It'd be interesting to see. But it's just better. I don't know. I think sometimes if you could bring here's what it really comes down to. If you could kind of bring like some decent foods, good tasting foods, I think it kind of kicks that craving. Like whenever you're out there for, I don't know, 4 or 5 days or whatever, and like you're like, all I want is a cheeseburger right now. Like if you could find a way to, either bring some good, like decent food with, like it kind of kicks those cravings where you're like, this is my 10th can of uh what of chili, and I
Yeah.
am tired of chili, like just kind of kicks those cravings in my thoughts anyway. Kind of makes it
Yeah.
not so
True. I,
so
I
bland.
I agree with you.
But that's about all I got, Joe. What about you?
Yeah, that's about what I got. Yeah. It kind of ending it there on my hunt. It's coming up. Hopefully we have something to show you guys. Um, getting something on the ground. I feel like we will. We got a plan set, and maybe we'll discuss a little bit more of our plan next pod, or at least my plan the next podcast. Because this will come out the Tuesday before my hunt, and then or the Saturday before my hunt, or Sunday, whichever. Anyways, and then we got one more podcast, and I'll discuss a little bit more about what my plan is, or a daily schedule too, and then go from there. But anyways, with that, I don't think I got anything else. We'll just go ahead and close us off there and just say thanks for listening. Thanks for your comments. Everybody, stay tuned. The year is starting to kick off. And keep hunting hard. Keep pushing through the struggles. They pay off. And then with that, I'm out.
I'm out too. Later, guys.
Later.